Welcome back, guys. Unknown003 here, coming at you with a tier list. And yeah, I think it has been a long time since I've actually done one of these. So, I should be a little bit more equipped to do these, right? Well, we'll see. So yeah, today this is actually going to be about my personal favorite fighting games of all time. Or at least ones that I have played more than once. So for the record, I'll give you guys a brief look about which ones are in here. You may notice there are definitely going to be some that you guys might not exactly see here. So I do not play really any of the anime games. So there's not going to be any Under Night, Grand Blue. There's not going to be Guilty Gear Strive. I've only played that twice. Didn't really put it on there. Dragon Ball Fighters, I thought about it, but honestly didn't put too much time into that one as well. So yeah, that's just kind of some of the examples there that are not in here. So with this, we are just going to get straight into it, man, and go to town. So yeah, as you can see, a majority of them are like Killer Instinct, KOF, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, so and so. But we'll get to them when we can. So first off, let me give you guys a brief rundown about how the tiers work here. Kill with Fire. I do not like playing this game whatsoever. I do not like how the game plays. It is a chore and a half to go through them, and honestly, do not have fun playing them at all. So there's that. Meh. I may have played a couple times, but ultimately I wasn't really motivated to keep going with the game. So yeah, that's going to be meh for you. Cool. I can respect the game for what it is. Still don't have enough like experience with it. But for the most part, it's a solid average game for me. Awesome. I think the game is great. Played it enough to really understand how the game is, what it's about, and therefore, still have like major respect points for it. Top tier, absolute favorites of all time. Enjoy playing it every time I do get the chance to, and yeah, that's really all I can say about top tier. And then one above all, I'm going to be doing at the very end. So all the selections from top tier, I'm just going to choose one that'll reign supreme. My absolute favorite of all time. If you know this channel, if you know me, you already know what's going to be up there. Or you may know what's going to be up there. So we'll see. But first, crack them knuckles. And sit tight, guys. Get some popcorn. Do what you got to do. Because this is going to be a long one. Capcom vs. SNK 2. This one is going to be a very interesting one. Because I've never, or for the longest time, I never actually owned this game. The only experience I really had with it was when I would go to the arcades and actually find it there. And I do remember having a run up to God Rugal and never been able to get past that asshole. And yeah, sure enough, like 2 years ago, I think. Like 2-3 years ago, I ended up actually getting it on the PS2 and had an awesome amount of time spent on it. So for the most part, this is an awesome game for me to play. Although I don't have like a whole shit ton of time put in it, I respect the game for what it is, dude. It is awesome. You got 6 different ways that you could play the game with the groove system, and a very solid roster from, Capcom and also SNK. So, can't really ask for more than that, dude. Just waiting on CVS 3 at this point, right? Okay, so with Dead or Alive 3, this one I have never owned. I've actually played it in my uncle's house, and that was when I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old, so it was a long time ago. Like over 20 years ago, which is crazy. But yeah, don't have too much experience with Dead or Alive 3. I don't remember too much aside from the fact that I gravitated towards Ryu Hayabusa before even knowing what he originally came from. But yeah, I think for the most part, I'm gonna be mean. I don't, like I said, I don't really have too much memory of it, and there's probably a reason. So it's a meh game for the most part. Don't really have too much memory with it, so I think it's for that reason that I kind of just leave it here. Not enough experience. That's pretty much the main reason. So Dead or Alive 6 is one that I did also somewhat play recently. I remember I was trophy hunting for this one on the PlayStation, and for the most part, it does play solid. So for that reason, I will put it on cool. I think it's a solid game for the most part, but just don't have too much time spent on it. And it was cool that they added Mai and Kula to the game. Although I did not spend any money for DLC. And there's a reason for that. Yeah. If you know, you know. Spending $1,000 for clothes is kind of wild. Especially virtually. Anyway. Now we get into the heavy hitters for me, dude. Oh, man. So, the original KI is one of my absolute favorite of all time. I'm not even going to spend too much time explaining why it belongs in top tier for me. But, grew up with it. Played it on the SNES with my cousins and my brother for many, many years. And ever since, it has begun... It stayed relevant to me, man. Like, I still have that on my SNES. I got it on the Switch now, which is amazing. And, of course, on the Xbox. So, KI will live on forever, dude. KI 2, although it is not as good as the original KI, especially due to the special counter system, which is broken, by the way, it's still an awesome game for me. This is actually the first KI that I've ever owned on the N64 specifically, and I remember shitting myself whenever I saw Gargus in the end when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Getting to him, I would turn off the console and I would run away the first time I encountered him. He was so creepy. But yeah, that's gonna pretty much do it for KI2. Not really too much to explain, man. Just very solid all around. Killer Instinct 2013. I remember, dude, oh my god, the stories that I have for this, dude. It is crazy. So, I actually mentioned this 2 years ago when I did my last fighting game tier list, but I'll keep it short this time. My brother and I came back from school after a long day in high school. It was 2013, around late May. So, pretty close to the time that we were finishing the year. And I remember my brother and I were trying to check out, or we were just kind of scrolling through the channels, seeing something interesting, and then we run into E3. We did not know what E3 was really about, because we weren't too knowledgeable with expos and gaming cons and things like that at the time. But yeah, sure enough, we checked it out. Xbox was doing their showcase for the Xbox One, and they were showing a bunch of launch titles, and sure enough, we were looking at Rise Son of Rome, and we thought it was kind of you know, just not really cared too much about it. And then once we started seeing this freaking familiar ass logo, strobing green lights, we were losing our collective shit, man. Like, we were teenagers, and we felt like freaking children, bouncing on the couches, running around the house, doing laps, screaming in the top of our lungs. My mom freaking the hell out, seeing what was going on. It is one of my favorite memories as a teenager, dude. It was amazing. But gameplay-wise, KI is solid as hell, dude. It had everything going against it in terms of development, with the developers switching during Season 1 and 2, with the low budget that he had. Mick Gordon quickly became one of my favorite music composers of all time. And what he was able to do with the music, bro, There's a reason why I love KI and Doom Eternal like so damn much. 2016 as well. Because his music is just so damn unique. And I think with this dude, has to be top tier for me too. Like, so damn good, man. The game is just fun to play. Shadow Lords is fun on occasion. And yeah, dude, I have nothing but love and complete respect for this game. And the series in general, to be honest. Okay, so now we're going to be going into a relatively obscure game that most of you guys have probably never heard of. So, back in the SNK days, we got this little old thing here called Super Tag Battle. The only reason I even played this game in the first place was due to the fact that one of my buddies, you may know him as Some Guy Zero, he actually has a SNK arcade stick that also holds like several, like at least 30 different SNK games, which is pretty cool, dude. Pretty awesome thing to get. And yeah, sure enough, he had me try this game out. I was very indifferent on it because, again, it's an old school one around the days of KOF. Old school KOF, which we'll be talking about shortly. But anyways, yeah, like I remember having a hard time against like a lot of the characters or a lot of the computers because I was doing an arcade run. And as per usual with the old SNK days, the bosses, the AI is cheap as fuck. So it is pretty much the same thing here. The penultimate final boss gave me the hardest time. I believe his name was like Shishio, something like that. And yeah, dude, he was, oh my god, I don't even want to tell you how much of a pain that was. But yeah, for the most part, the game is decent. You know, it's good for its time. But for me, having only played it like 2 or 3 times, I unfortunately got to put it here. Though, again, not really too much time invested into it. But not really too much to say, man. Like, for real. So now we go into the KOF series. So this is going to be a somewhat beefy one too. But let's get into 2002 UM. This one I actually had a lot of fun playing through. The roster is definitely one of the biggest in the franchise. And this is fresh off of, or straight end of, K-Dash's main character storyline. And now, having played it somewhat recently, I have a good amount of fun playing it, man. With people, sometimes online, depending on circumstance. And some of the supers in the game are memorable as hell. Like, don't even get me started on Shingo's level 3, where he's literally looking up his own move list mid-super. It's got a lot of character to it, man. I can't deny that. So, with that very reason, this is an awesome game for me, dude. Yeah, and honestly, I'm very comfortable putting it with KI2 and CVS2. So, 2002 UM, you got my respect, man. Deadass. So, now we got KOF 94. This is the granddaddy of them all for the KOF series, dude. So, with this, it is very dated for its time. It does feel jank. It is very stiff in terms of movement. But I do have respect for it. So, for the most part, it's cool. Right? I think it's a cool game for the most part. You know, it's, like I said, the one that started it all. Nothing but respect for it. I can play it every now and then, but doing the inputs does admittedly feel a little stiff for the game, but not really too much you could do about it in 94. So, there's 94 for you. We are now going to get into KOF 95. This one I actually remember a little less than 94, but I think that for the most part, it is roughly around the same level as 94, for me at least. Because, you know what, I gotta be honest here. this is going to be very, very samey for me due to the fact that I've played through the arcades of these maybe twice. And honestly, I can't really say too much about it because, again, like, not too much time playing these particular games. 98? This one is bordering, honestly. But I also fucking hate Omega Rugal in the game. So, but, yeah, dude, don't even get me started on Omega Rugal. There's a reason why Mexico freaking despises this character. Anyway, I've only played the original 98, not Unlimited Match. So, for that reason, I have Bare Bones 98 here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to leave it at cool. It's I'm a little bummed out by that, but I gotta be honest. So now we get into my first KOF game in the series, the first one I've ever played, which is kind of wild in retrospect, since considering this is like widely known as the most difficult one to play, let alone be good in. So 13 is an awesome game for me, dude. The soundtrack is great. The character sprites are freaking top tier for a 2D fighting game. And honestly, the movement feels great, dude. The combos are satisfying. And what I really care about a lot is the fact that most of the moves, with like the supers and stuff like that, they have hella impact on their hits. And that is honestly what I really care about as well. So, KOF 13 is an awesome game for me, dude. Nothing but respect for it as well. And just an absolute blast to go through. Now, with KOF 14, this is almost around the realm of 94 to 98. To where didn't really have too much time playing through this game in particular. I remember doing like the combo trials with the characters. And they were difficult for the most part, especially with like Leona. But, yeah, honestly, it's cool. Mainly due to the fact that, again, like not really too much time played on it, man. Which is kind of a bummer. But that's the God's honest truth. Okay, so with that, we are going into the latest entry in the KOF series with 15. I put a lot of damn time into this game, dude, and there is a reason. This is definitely way better than 14 in my opinion. The music is definitely better, in my opinion. And the roster, it feels damn near complete, honestly. Throughout the entirety of the series, they were able to grab several characters from pretty much all the eras of KOF. I was really happy when they brought back the Orochi team, and I was definitely happy when they brought the Samsho team with Darlie and Hawamaru being brand new characters to the KOF franchise. And yeah, dude, the game feels great. I could honestly just go online. I could just play with friends easily and just have a very fun and satisfying time with this game. So it belongs in awesome. Definitely. Plus, you know, for the most part, it is fun to watch, especially when it comes to, like, Evo, for example. So, yeah. There's KOF 15 for you guys. And then, now we're going into an oddball choice. Lethal League, I don't know if you could consider this a fighting game. But I am putting it here for the hell of it. Because, hey, if Smash is here, then why not Lethal League, right? Anyways. Lethal League is also like a really fun time to have. So I'm going to put it on awesome, man. Like, when you play with 4 people, jeez, dude. It's like an episode of Dragon Ball Z. I swear. Like, and the fact that you could go to like max speed, which is what, 9 million, or no, it was 1 million speed. I think 1 million was the max, right? But god damn, this game is fun, and it has a lot of technical stuff in the game, which is kind of crazy to think about in retrospect. So yeah, there's a Lethal League for you. Not really too much I could say about it, to be honest. So this one is going to be another nostalgia pick for me. Super Smash Bros. Melee. So in terms of the competitive scene, I don't really care for it. But in terms of the offline casual scenario, dude, this game is top tier AF, dude. Like, I have so many good memories with Melee. Like, so many good memories. And honestly, admittedly, I have a problem in terms of, like, the grind moveset, because I remember, and I somewhat still do this, to where I have all the characters unlocked, and once I do that, I reset the game. Reset it all, you know, all the unlockable characters, I would unlock them again, and just do it over and over and over. I don't know why I do that, but I think it's just more the gratification of unlocking characters. But that's besides the point. Smash is, or Melee is jam-packed with content, dude. For a game that came out in 2001, it has a shit ton that you could do. With adventure mode, going through the different universes of the characters, which is an awesome idea that they should have brought back. Although Brawl, I think, does kind of do that. It's got classic mode, as per usual, as it should. All-Star mode, it had the home run contest, target practice, they brought that back from the 64, and what else am I missing? Yeah, dude, it was just, there was so much to do in the game, man. Like, craziness. And not bad for, again, a game from 2001. Smash Melee is an awesome time, and you know, as a non-competitive player of the series and game, I will absolutely go back for the hell of it, for the funsies. This is going to be controversial no matter where I put it, too. That's what's sad about it, man. So, Mortal Kombat 1. This, at the time of this recording, this game is 7 or 8 months old. I do still play it relatively, and because again, the grinding mindset, I'm maxing out all the characters, and of course, you know, like somewhat recently, I've been doing the Mortal Kombat 1 arcade runs with all the characters and cameos. However, the game does have some problems. I'm not putting it top tier, but I will leave it at awesome, because despite the problems it does still have, even with like some of the audio bugs that it still has for some reason, I can still have a decent amount of fun playing the game. But yeah, man, that's a tough one, because I really want to put it in top tier, but there are just too many problems the game has right now, man, and it's sad. And I hope that NetherRealm could get that taken care of soon, because I am not by any means gonna blame NetherRealm necessarily for that, because, you know, crunch time is a hell of a drug. So, anyway, MK11. I think, ironically, oh wait, let me put it down here for now. I think that ironically, I have put the most time in this game out of any Mortal Kombat game in the series. Possibly combined, which is kind of crazy to think about in retrospect. But even despite that, I actually am gonna put it in the same tier as MK1. And yeah, like, although the movement, honestly, people have been shitting on the movement too much, and I could understand why, because it is very stiff. It is heavily 50-50 based, which I could definitely see that argument as well. But for the most part, MK11, I do think is a solid game. I do have a good amount of fun playing it. Story mode is pretty good. You know, you're not going to get any freaking Shawshank Redemption or Citizen Kane kind of story mode. But it does what it needs to do, and I think it does it well. So, MK11, awesome. And I may attempt to try to play it soon, just for the hell of it. MK3. So, I'm going to go ahead and iterate that I have never played the Ultimate version. I've only grown up playing the original MK3, and not from a console that you might expect. So, believe it or not, I actually played and only played MK3 through the PlayStation Portable, the PSP. And that was due to the fact that it had the Midway Arcade Treasures collection, which had the original 3 Mortal Kombat games. And I think that for the most part, I did have a decent amount of time and fun playing it. However, it's cool, you know. I honestly can't put it in the same tier as like KI2 and KOF 15 because, again, sort of limited on the amount of time I played it, but I did ultimately have some fun with it, so it's cool, you know? I think it's okay. Especially for the bare bones roster that it did have. So, there you go. That's going to be MK3 for you. Alright, so now I guess we're going to be jumping into into the least played Mortal Kombat game that I've ever played. And for that, I unfortunately have to put it at meh. Because, again, I'm not really too familiar with it. I played it once, and that was in the arcades, and honestly, I did consider not even putting it in this freaking list here, in the whole list, just because how little experience I really had playing the game. So, unfortunately, I can't really talk too much about it. I know about the Bone Breaker system. I know a little bit about the running stuff, and them essentially trying to implement a lot of MK3 stuff into a 3D fighting game. And I definitely know about the corny ass endings that the game had for most of the characters. Thanks, Max, for the video. Never forget. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 4, can't really say too much about it. And then we go into the complete fucking opposite. MK9, dude. This, top tier. I can't even explain enough about why it deserves to be up there. Probably my favorite Mortal Kombat game of all time. I would say so. And it's got one of the craziest story mode stuff to happen. If you know, you know. And the crypt, for the most part, it does well. Speaking of the crypt, I'll go ahead and mention that MK11's crypt is definitely the best in the series, and it should absolutely be the way they should go from now on in terms of the crypt. It's like Disneyland, but, you know, deadly. So, anyways, going back to MK9, the movement is fun, although some characters are broken. I'm looking at you, Kambal. There's a lot of fun to be had playing the game, dude. Like, to be honest. So, I have nothing but adoration for the game, and it still holds up very well even now, 15 years later. Or, no, not 15, 14 years later. 13. Good lord, I'm old. Anyways, yeah, that's MK9. So, looks like we're going from 9 to Armageddon. This one is a tricky one for me because I actually grew up playing this one, and I remember having a cheat sheet on my, like just writing it down on a piece of paper. I think my brother actually did that, actually. But we would have the different combos that you could do for the create your fatality system, and it worked most of the time. But with MK Armageddon, this had definitely the biggest roster in the series. This one also had motor combat, which is kind of wild and oddly fun. And what else? The Conquest mode was pretty decent. Definitely different from what they did with Deception. And honestly, I can't really say too much about it. This one may also be a little controversial because I have a soft spot for the game. Like, I am by no means gonna say that the gameplay is better than like MK11 or MK1 even. But I think it's just the overall package of the game that kind of lifts it from cool to awesome for me. So, by all means, dude, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you guys have your own takes on these games, please feel free to let me know in the comments and let me know what your guys' opinions are on them, because I'm genuinely curious, you know? This isn't some royal decree on what game is good and what isn't. And you're definitely going to be seeing that once we get further down on the list. Alright, so from the looks of this one, this is actually going to be the original Mortal Kombat game. The one that started it all back in the days of 1992. And this one was the first one I've ever played. And I believe I actually played this when it had the Mortal Kombat plug-and play. When I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old. But yeah, dude. This one, I think... Oh my god. Okay, this is a tough one. 'Cause I got a soft spot for it, but I also didn't really enjoy playing it. Okay, alright. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Top of meh, you go. This is definitely top of meh. And yeah, this is killing me. You know what? No, I can't do it. I can't. It's cool, you know, because I don't hate it. And it also revolutionized the series. And I do have like a little soft spot for it, so yeah. I think I'm a little more comfortable putting it there. So now, yeah, there's not really too much to say about it. It's the ESRB maker, man. Thanks, Sub-Zero. Anyways, Mortal Kombat Deception. So, I think, ironically, with the original 3D era games, with Deadly Alliance, Armageddon, and Deception, crazy enough, I think I played this one the least. However, when I do play it, Puzzle Combat was actually really fun. Chess Combat didn't really sink my teeth into it too much. And Conquest, it was okay. It did really feel like an RPG, well, in terms of like the open world stuff. I wasn't really a big fan of that, but it did have a lot of content packed into it, just about as much as Armageddon did. So I think, for the most part, although I played it less, I do still think it's an awesome game. So, I think I'm comfortable leaving it there. Yeah, I think that works for me. Deadly Alliance, this one I could make that decision quickly. This is cool. You know, this was definitely a better MK4 than MK4 was, for sure. Especially since this was the first one to be released on the PS2 Xbox days. And I think that for the most part... Sorry, my allergies are kind of flaring up. I apologize. For the most part, it holds up pretty well. But I think this is the only one in the series to not implement stage fatalities. Right? Aside from MK1 at the moment. The new MK1. So, yeah. Deadly Alliance is cool. Not really too much to say about it. Mortal Kombat 2. As much as I freaking hate and absolutely hate going against the bots in the game, because you already know, it's still an awesome game. You know, it was definitely the best version of the original trilogy. You know, MK2 freaking knocked it out of the park, dude. It definitely revolutionized Mortal Kombat and put it on the map. And more than just the controversial way, but just overall, the characters, the uniqueness, and even though they are palette swaps, most of them, they were all relatively unique in terms of moveset, so good brownie points for that. we're going to be running into Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. This one was another one that I did not really play too much, and actually didn't own it for a while until somewhat recently as well. But I think for the most part it is cool. Didn't really have a lot of time invested in it, but it did have more fun with this than I did with MK4. So I think that for that reason, I'll leave it at cool. So, yeah, man. That's really all I could say about that, man. MKX. So, crazy enough, when it comes to, like, the new era trilogy with MK9, X, and 11, I actually played this one the least. And despite the colors being, like, ugly and brown in most of the stages, the gameplay, I would argue, is the best. Like, super aggressive. It was super fast-paced. The fast-paced, like, the most fast-paced it's ever been, aside from, like, maybe MK3. But you could kind of argue that as well. This is an awesome game to go through. If I'm being real. Although I don't play it as much as I did with, like, MK11 and 9, it's still awesome. So, I'll leave it at that, man. I think that's fair for the most part. Plus, even though they got their like focus on like the combat kids, I did like Takeda as a character the most, and then Jackie or Cassie right behind as well. But yeah, that's kind of besides the point. MKX, you're an awesome game, and honestly, I want to be against playing you sometime soon. Especially for maybe, I don't know, you guys would be interested in Mortal Kombat story mode run? Wink wink. Anyway. Okay, so this one, you guys might notice something a little off about this. I never played the original Marvel vs. Capcom. So for that very reason, I did not add it to the list. So that's the only reason why. Marvel 2, on the other hand, actually had some time put in it. Top of cool, bottom of awesome. I have a feeling this is going to be a scorcher, but I think it's cool. Now, before you guys start getting pissed off in the comments, I'm going to go ahead and let you know I've never personally been too into the tag team asset of like the or aspect of fighting games myself. I'm more of a technical player, if anything, which is why you're not going to see a lot of like tag team fighters in here. I mean, Skullgirls isn't even on here. Dragon Ball FighterZ isn't even on here. And yeah, Power Rangers. No, that's not really tag, but sorta. Yes and no. But yeah. Point is, Marvel 2, I do have a lot of casual fun playing it, but I never really invested a lot of time into it, which is why I ultimately just leave this at cool. And I'm sorry to do this, but same thing with Marvel 3, man. Very same reasons. Not a lot of time put into it. Did play it for some of the arcade modes. And I did have a decent amount of fun playing as Dante. And honestly, with the Marvel vs. Capcom series, Dante is the best represented for his Devil May Cry moveset in Marvel 3. So I respect that. But again, not really too much time invested in it. So that's really all I could say about it, dude. Okay, so now with Marvel Infinite, I hate being a broken record, but again, same reasons. Story mode was very meh, and honestly, I instinctively thought about putting this on meh, but the gameplay is still kind of fun. Not really big on the not a big fan of the graphics personally, on like the art of the game, which honestly, Marvel 3 had probably the best art just because of the comic book design. But with Marvel Infinite, as good a logo as this really is, if I'm being totally honest, still, I had not really had a lot of time invested into it. So for that reason, I'm leaving those at cool. I know the Marvel community is going to kill me for this, but again, this is mainly due to the fact that I had not really put that much time, if any time, in the Marvel games, because I'm not really big on tag fighters myself. So that's my take. So Rivals of Aether, this one is cool. Yeah, this is cool. You know, it's as a different type of game, as similar as it is from like the Smash series. It's okay for the most part, you know, small roster. It was cool that they added Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest to the game. But again, not really too much time put into it, and honestly don't really intend to. So that's Rivals of Aether for you. Short, simple, and yeah, there you go. So now, with Samsho, my very first Samurai Showdown game, and actually had a decent amount of fun playing it, which is a little surprising, but at the same time a little not surprising. Because again, as I stated earlier, I am more of a technical player, so a lot of the technical stuff from the game does kind of resonate with me. However, not too much had resonated with me because admittedly the game is incredibly slow. Very slow. But most, if not all of the hits matter. You take a hit, you have the potential of losing like half your health, dude. Like, it's crazy how careful you need to be in terms of when to strike. And I do feel like for that reason, they definitely nailed it with like the whole samurai aspect. Like, the setting is also beautiful. The art of the game is great. The supers are pretty damn well. Pretty good. Pretty good. Galford's definitely one of the best in the game. And yeah. Fan service galore, if you know. I'm sure you know, right? B-Boy Sonic X? Anyway. Just throwing out names. That's what I do. Soul Calibur 6 is... Oh man, I could get killed for this one. Well, let me just... I'm not putting it here yet, or stamping it here, but I'll say that again. Not really too much time put into the game personally. The only real times that I really do play the game in the first place is with Star Deviant. You guys remember her. And for the most part, there is a good amount of fun to be had. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm caving. I know. I'm a pushover. Oh, anyways. But no, like, to be honest, Soul Calibur 6 is definitely the second best Soul Calibur game for me. Which is ironic because there are only 2 Soul Calibur games on this list. Because they're only 2 ones that I've actually played. So, for the reasons that I stated, Weapon Master, create a character. Oh my god, don't even get me started on that fucking minefield. All of those things combined, and the DLC, and the, Harumaru and Geralt being in the game is pretty cool. So yeah, gameplay is also fun. So I am getting more and more comfortable leaving it right here on awesome. So yeah, there you go, Soul Calibur. You done did it. Okay, so now we're going to go into Soul Calibur 2. This is the first Soul Calibur game I've ever played, and I remember exclusively playing either Spawn or Necrid for the only reason that... only reason I even did was because of the fact that they were cool looking, at the time for me. I was still a kid, so I didn't know any better. But Soul Calibur 2 holds up really well, even now. So, especially the music, dude. The music is incredible. And I am, let me think about this. Do I want a representative of Soul Calibur being top tier? Yes, I do. Yeah. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, I put a lot of time into the game. Weapon Master was a blast to go through. As hard as it was at the time. But yeah, man, it was a good time overall. And it's always fun to go back on like the online HD edition and just play as either Spawn or Heihachi. It is unfortunate we can't play as Link because Nintendo won't really share his character, but that's whatever. So anyway, yeah, Soul Calibur 2, top tier. Oh god. Shit. Okay. This is gonna be our first one. You kill that with fire right now. Street Fighter 1, you belong in the abyss. If you guys have ever had the displeasure of playing Street Fighter 1, don't do it again. Street Fighter 2, need I even say anything about Street Fighter 2? My goodness. Top tier. Grew up playing Super Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. And definitely played a lot of Super Turbo once the Anniversary Edition came out. So, Street Fighter 2, top tier AF, dude. Best Street Fighter game in the series, in my opinion. Actually, maybe it's going to be fighting with another one, which we'll be talking about. But once we get there. Which is right now. Third Strike. A game that had little expectations to be good in the very beginning. But then suddenly, within the years of this game being out, people have been understanding the tech of the game, the movement of the game, and just overall how fun the game actually is. Now, I am only including Third Strike because of the fact that I have never really played New Generation or Second Impact. So, and I grew up with this one specifically. Online Edition, I do think is the best version of Third Strike because of the fact that they have some other content added to it. You could also play as Gil, which is hilarious, but not online, which is definitely a good choice on their part. But with Third Strike, dude, it has just about everything you would want in a technical fighting game. The parry system is always satisfying to pull off. Don't even get me started on Evil Moment 37. If you're an even average fighting game fan, you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, Third Strike, top tier, no question. You know, like, on my personal opinion, of course. So, Street Fighter 4, this one is going to be interesting because once it came out in 2008, I do remember having the vanilla copy of it and being okay with the game for the most part. It was cool, and I believe it was the last time in the Street Fighter series where you could actually unlock characters. In fact, isn't that the only Street Fighter game where you can unlock characters? I think so. That is just so weird to think about in hindsight. But with Street Fighter 4 as a complete package, which I am including Ultra Street Fighter 4 and Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, which was where I put most of my time in. Awesome game. Definitely an awesome game. In fact, so awesome, I am definitely comfortable putting it in the top of awesome because honestly, I'm not really sorting these out proper. But with Street Fighter 4, I have a personal connection to it because I played a lot of different versions of it. I actually had a comfortable amount of fun playing this on the 3DS. And the music is damn good. Like, for sure, dude. Street Fighter hardly misses with their music. But there were times where they miss. And we'll talk about that when we get to it. If you know, you know. Okay, so I think I should talk about Street Fighter V first before we talk about 6. Um, Street Fighter V, I do feel like I put the least amount of time in it in the series, aside from the one that shall not be named. And I'm being mean to Street Fighter 1, but come on, man! Bare bones, the shit inputs didn't even work right. You had to use negative edge on those. But anyways, Street Fighter V, the story mode was interesting, but it wasn't great. It was kind of your average story mode, you know, fighting Bison and ultimately reigning victorious with Ryu, of course. But I didn't have a lot of time into this game just because I wasn't a fan of how the game looked. The V system, I wasn't big on it myself, and I think it was just due to the fact that Street Fighter V was exclusive to the PlayStation for some reason. I never understood that, and even despite me having access to actually play the game, I think it was just too little too late for me, man. Like, it was bad circumstance for Street Fighter V, and as crazy as it is to say, I think it's cool. This is an odd place to put it. I'm not gonna lie, but I gotta be honest with myself, dude. Like, I can't make choices just because of popular opinions. So I'm just throwing it out there, man. Street Fighter 6. Now, this came out in June of last year, 2023. And I had a lot of time put into the game so far. And I still relatively do. And for that reason, this is definitely... It definitely feels like a great time going into it. You know, Ed was just released a few weeks ago. And with Akuma having just been announced, or at least been revealed, I'm looking very much forward to how he's going to play. And if he is, man, I am going to be getting back on that Street Fighter 6 bus and taking the driver's seat because it is a fun game to play. Like, what they do with the drive system, I do feel is more satisfying and more fun to do than the V system in 5. So, for those reasons, and honestly, I did kind of get more and more okay with JP as the main villain. And a lot of the characters have very different arcs now, which is crazy. Like, definitely Ken's being one of the biggest ones. But, yeah, man, Street Fighter 6 really does feel like everyone is just old. Everyone's old, and then we got, it really feels like modern Street Fighter 3, if anything. So, but I think it's done very well. So, Street Fighter 6, awesome game, man. And definitely looking forward to playing more once Akuma comes out. Alright, so it looks like we are officially running into the Smash series. So now, I'm gonna actually get started with the original. So this one I played second in the series, behind Melee. And with this one, honestly, this is a tough one. It's definitely between cool and awesome. Very bare bones, as you would kind of expect. It did it have target contests? Or target practice? I think so, right? It's been a long time since I played this. Man, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave it at cool. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna leave it at cool. Not really too much to say. You know, like, Master Hand. We got the original. Before they were trophies, they were actually just plushie dolls, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that's really all I could say about Smash 1, dude. Although, honestly, the most memorable thing I remember about this game is the fact that, with the, what do you call it? Smash contest? Like doing combo, or the Smash combo contests. Those were fun to watch. And definitely the most memorable part that I remember from this game specifically. So, yeah, I think it belongs in cool. And honestly, probably might not even play it again anytime soon. So, yeah. Smash 4, I think I played just as little as I did with Smash 64 as well. It's cool. Oh my god, this is tough. Because it was cool they added Cloud, Bayonetta, and Ryu to the game. I remember Master Fortress being a problem. But again, did not sink my teeth into this game as much. And for that reason, I gotta leave it at cool, man. I know, it's crazy to think, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it at cool, dude. I have to. Just little time spent on it, ultimately. So, Smash Brothers Brawl. I should have done this one first before. Anyway, this one, I did not actually own the game for a while as well. I played it at a cousin's friend's house, and I remember just having fun with Marth specifically, and also Fox, before I really understood that they were like some of the best characters. Until Meta Knight came into the fray, but we're not talking about that. With Brawl, call me crazy. It called me insane. Now, again, I want to iterate that this is due to casual, offline, and not Project M, not competitive online play, none of that crap that I do. So, offline, it's got a shit ton of content packed in it as well. It has just about everything. Event mode, target practice, home run contest. You had, and honestly, the best thing they did was they added a boss battle and like the boss gauntlet. Once you actually completed the what is that called? Subspace Emissary, which is kind of like the mini-ish story mode of the game. This game had a lot, dude. Like, it's crazy. And then the secret characters you could unlock in the story mode, which was Jigglypuff, Toon Link, and Wolf, if my memory serves me correctly. But yeah, dude, Brawl is a great time. I am still kind of like scratching my head on why they added tripping. I guess it's just to mitigate the whole dash dancing mechanic that, or I don't even know, man. It is confusing. But yeah, Smash Brawl, absolute top tier in terms of the content and the amount of time that I played and just the overall fun I had with it. So I may also play that soon as well. Okay, so with now, we got the most recent in the series with Smash Ultimate. I almost said Melee for some reason. Melee. Why am I saying Melee? Oh my god. Smash Ultimate. You know, if I'm being honest, it deserves to be up here too. Yeah, I'm never gonna forget. So, fun fact, from the only, like, month that I've actually played Smash competitively, it was Ultimate. But even then, I kind of fell out of love with the competitive scene. But even despite that, unlocking the characters was oddly satisfying. It was fun to do. And just like Melee, I had fun re-unlocking these characters again and again. But overall package for Smash Ultimate is pretty damn good. You know, because you had the World of Light, and of course you got a lot of the like event mode, like target practice. You got the home run contest. Online could have used work, but honestly, dude, Smash Ultimate is always a good amount of time and fun to play. You got the complete roster in there, and many more with the DLC characters, which is kind of wild. Seeing Kazuya, Terry, and Ryu in a Smash game? Bruh. Oh, and Ken, of course. That is... that is wild. But yeah, that's really all I could say about Ultimate, man. You know. Non-competitive wise, it is one of the best, man. Like, for sure. So, yeah. Now, this is going to be another controversial one because, again, I respect the game for what it is, but unfortunately it's cool. And it is also due to the fact I did not grow up playing the game, didn't have access to the game, and even to this day, did not really play it that much, except a couple of times in like an arcade. I had an opportunity to play this very recently, but for whatever reason, the arcade machine is just not working. So, Tekken 3 is forever outside my grasp. And to be honest, I don't feel like I would even get back into it just because of the fact that 8 just came out. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about the first Tekken game that I've ever played, which is 4. Now, I'm leaving it here for now because I am actually debating, crazy as this may be. So, yeah, I played 4 first in the series and had a great amount of time playing it, a great amount of fun playing it. And I remember initially getting Kazuya, or like maining Kazuya, until I started playing Paul more. And this kind of just became a theme throughout the series. With 4, it also had a pretty decent amount of content in there as well. You know, of course you had the mandatory like arcade mode, story mode, learn a little more about what the characters were doing after the events of 3, especially, you know, like with Kazuya essentially being announced alive this time, or you know, he wasn't dead. But with Tekken Force, that was also pretty fun to do. And honestly, I may revisit that sometime soon because I do remember, or I did forget a lot about what happens in Tekken Force. But anyway, that's besides the point. The music in this game is pretty good. Like, pretty damn good. And honestly, Tekken 4, I don't have any issues getting back into. However, we gotta talk about the fact that this is very much of a beta test for 5. Don't want to forget about the incline and the issues that had in terms of balance to the game. So I think for that reason, as much as I want to put it on awesome for a nostalgic and personal set, I am not going to deny that it does have its problems. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I'll leave it at 4. I'll leave 4 at cool. Alright, I think for this, let's actually talk about Tekken Tag 1. Because this was right behind 4. This was the second game I've ever played from the Tekken series. As good as a character select music that had, I'm gonna leave it at I'll leave it at cool. Because again, like not really too much time spent on it. I don't think I've ever played the game with a complete roster. Like I didn't unlock all the characters. So for that, yeah, that should give you an idea of how like little I really played the game. It was okay. It was definitely the bridge between 3 and 4 in terms of graphics and looks. So yeah, dude, Tekken Tag 1 also had a pretty damn big roster too, if my memory serves me correctly. But Tag 2 just knocks that shit out of the water, man. This is definitely worthy of being an awesome addition. Like, Tag 2 definitely felt like the better version. And the roster was even freaking bigger than it was in Tag 1, which is crazy. And not to mention they added young Heihachi to the mix, which is funny. You know, it's not really a canonical thing in the timeline, so it's like, do what you want, you know? If you want to get the prime out of Heihachi, by all means, let your husbando list be flying. But anyways, yeah, with Tag 2, it still looks very well today. And yeah, this was like fresh on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era, where it really had a chance to look like great, and it definitely did. And it was fun to play, dude, like at the end of the day, which is what you would want from a freaking game, right? You know, so yeah, awesome. Definitely worthy of being an awesome one on the list. So Tekken 5. Tekken 5. We got our first one up there, man. Tekken 5 is, for the longest time, my favorite Tekken game. And honestly, there's very, very good reasons why. This was the first one to introduce Devil Jin, which was very interesting as a character. Jinpachi, probably the most empathetic characters of all time. That poor dude could not catch a freaking break, man. Being possessed by a devil and just his will being taken away. Anyway, that's besides the point. Tekken 5 was just so fun to play, dude. Like, the roster is big at the time, you know, and it looked great for the PS2. Like, for real, man. And it definitely brought back some of the goofiness, which is actually why I kind of like Tekken 5 more. Just in terms of the the environmental and atmospheric stuff that the game had, and the storyline with the characters. Never forget freaking Law's ending with Paul. That shit is always gonna make me laugh. And also Ganryu getting constantly cock-blocked by Julia. Ah, those are good times. But yeah, Tekken 5 worthy of top tier. Character select theme. That's all I have to say. If you don't know, fix that. Alright, so now we're going to be talking about Tekken 7. And yeah, dude. So, I'm going to let you know now that I have never played Tekkens 1, 2, and 6. And I guess if you want to add as well, Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. Never played that one as well. So, with that being said, Tekken 7 is the next chronologically that I actually did play. 7 was an awesome time, dude. Like, it's crazy how much that really changed. It was so random with them having Akuma being like one of the main characters of story mode for no reason. And we'll definitely talk more about Akuma in a second, especially once we get to 8. But Tekken 7 was freaking awesome, dude. Like, for real. Like, it was fun to play. And although with especially 8 now that the graphics do look a little bit dated, it still looked great for its time. Like, let's be real, dude. The game came out of what? 2015? 15, 16? So what? That's 9 years now? Come on. You know? So, yeah, Tekken 7, overall fun experience. The story mode could have been better. You know, they put too much emphasis on this random journalist for no reason. But I'm not really gonna ding it for that, because the gameplay is that damn good. And not to mention Tekken Bowling. Oh my god, I actually put a decent amount of time in Tekken Bowling, up to a point where I was finally able to bowl a perfect 300, which don't even get me started. But 7 was a great time, dude. Like, I don't mind checking it out in hindsight, just to see how different it really feels from 8. So, yeah, worthy of being an awesome. So now, let's go into our final game of the list. Tekken 8. Released at the time of this recording about 3 months ago. Almost 3 months ago. Or no, 2 months ago, I'm sorry. I keep thinking it's April for some reason. But anyways, with Tekken 8, it really felt like closure to the series, especially with Jin and Kazuya. They really did Jin dirty in terms of the storyline in 7. And 8 really did feel like a love letter for the Jin character in this. And yeah, you really get to see a lot of it during story mode. And speaking of, the story mode, pretty freaking good, man. Like, way better than it was in 7. And the music, freaking headbangers, almost all of them. Even the one that's playing right now, like, dude, it's so good. The gameplay, even better. The heat system, satisfying to pull off. The hits, impactful, which is what I really cared about, as I said in the beginning of the video. And Tekken Ball is oddly fun to play. It's hilarious. And, you know, like arcade quests and some of the stuff that they added to that, which really did feel like World Tour, which I didn't talk enough about World Tour in 6, I apologize, but that was a fun addition. But with Tekken 8, dude, it really feels like a complete package to the Tekken series. And for the game itself, absolutely worthy of being top tier. Like, this, at the time of this recording right now, it is my favorite fighting game that I am playing at the moment. So, hey, brownie points, dude. Straight up brownie points. Wow. We have actually did it. We completed the list, man. Well, except for one thing. And, yeah, I did forget to mention about Akuma. It was hilarious that they actually just straight up ignored Akuma after he was so focused on in 7. But I guess that's besides the point, right? Okay, now we go into the one above all. Which one out of my top tier list here is worthy of making it up top? Well, if you know me, if you know how I do things with my channel, you should already know that the top goes to... I can't help it, dude. I can't help being so predictable with what I do. But I am also not going to be a contrarian for the sake of being different. You know? This KI 2013 honestly felt like everything going against it. And it just had this crazy sort of like underdog arc throughout its inception. And throughout the time that it's been in the community. Like, honestly, dude, the KI community is one of the most beloved and also passionate fan bases that you're ever going to meet. I promise you that. And the reason is just because we care so much about what this game is going through. We don't want this game to fall into the broken category. We want the game to be balanced so that almost every character is viable in their own way. And again, I'll say it again. The music, 99, if not 100% of the music is just straight up bangers. And honestly, I did really think about Tekken 8, putting Tekken 8 up here. Like, dead ass. Dead ass. But I think it's just recency biased right now. So with 2013, dude, nothing but love. Absolutely adore this game. And I love that with the anniversary edition that they released a few months back, that people are getting back on it, man. You know, they actually patched a lot of the issues that the game had. They made Riptor's like Flame Carpet viable again. They fixed a lot of Eagle's issues, which is what made them top tier. And now this game is as good as you're going to get out of it. And it belongs to my one above all tier list. So this is it for my tier list, guys. I know this went a little longer than I was hoping it would, but what can you do, right? At least it's not a 5-hour stream or video even. So feel free, take your screenshots if you even care. I know I was shitting on Street Fighter 1, but it's just funny to do it. Yeah, seriously, let me know if there's a Street Fighter 1 community. I genuinely want to know. But that's going to do it for this, man. Like I said in the beginning of the video and also in the middle of the video, what are your guys' favorites? By all means, if you have like this personal one that you absolutely adore, even if it's not really popularly known as like a great or good game, seriously, by all means, let me know in the comments. I want to get your guys' opinions because I don't want this to feel like a one-sided conversation, because I do want to get to know you guys more, and I do want to get a take on what your guys' favorite games are, because who knows, man? I think it is a good time to really just engage with you guys, if anything. So, by all means, let me know in the comments. Did you think a particular fighting game was too high, too low? Was there some in there that I didn't mention that you actually adore? By all means, you know? So, we want to get this conversation going, man. Want to grow our little community and, you know, just relish what we have right now and what we had back in the days, you know? So that's going to do it for now, y'all. It was fun doing this tier list, but hey, 2 years later, I honestly think that this was a better job. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Fight on, everyone.